So it appears we've recently entered the marketing cycle for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. For those who don't know or aren't in the loop, this game is kind of a big deal. Besides the obvious point being that Zelda is finally the main character of her own game, this is actually the first new top-down Zelda we've had in a very long time. The last traditional top-down Zelda we got was back in 2013 when A Link Between Worlds released on the 3DS, and I think this is something that fans have been asking about for a very long while. At the time of actually recording this video, we got our first real look at the game outside of the reveal trailer back in June, and when watching it, I got a sudden wave of dread falling on me, and I just gotta talk about it. Now, don't get me wrong, the very prospect of us getting a top-down Zelda game and Zelda as the main character is enough to make me love this game regardless. Knowing the Zelda cycle, everyone's going to love it when it first drops, and then I'll give it about a month or so when we start seeing tweets against its favor. But yeah, I want to say it again, I am very excited for this game. I'm gonna be there on day one to talk about it too. Having concerns about something doesn't really mean that I'm immediately writing it off. And I forgot to mention that everything I'm going to be talking about today is from my subscribers. I asked my Discord server and my public subscribers about what their thoughts on the game are, and that's mostly what we're going over today. But regardless, if you are interested in my thoughts when this game releases, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, of course, as I'll be there to let you know my thoughts day one. But with that out of the way, let's discuss some of your thoughts. I don't know, I don't even like Zelda like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, my biggest concerns are as follows. I'm wondering how the game will perform, given the Link's Awakening remake suffered from various performance issues, such as somewhat frequent dropped frames. I'm also not entirely sure I like the fact that they're reusing the same engine and art style as the remake. It seems to be following in the footsteps of Tears of the Kingdom, showing that the Zelda team prefers to reuse designs and content rather than creating wholly new experiences. Like how the game takes heavy inspiration from Ocarina without seeming to add much of its own. I'm not sure how the game is going to progress, whether or not the Tri-Rod will be an improvement on how 2D Zeldas function, puzzle and exploration-wise. I'm worried that being able to go anywhere at any time with creating echoes will mess with proper progression. Yeah, I seem to agree with the majority of this, I'm gonna be completely honest. I guess starting from the top, talking about how the game performs, I 100% agree. As good as Link's Awakening actually looked on the Switch, I think the performance bugged it down a lot, because there was just... God, there were constant frame rate drops throughout the entire thing. This game looks like it was made right for Switch, and you would think that a game like it would run very well, but it just doesn't. There's constant frame rate drops, usually whenever you're in tall grass patches or there's a lot of things going on screen, which again, isn't something that looks like would happen in a game like this. Echoes of Wisdom only looks to further enhance the look and feel of the Link's Awakening remake, since it takes direct inspiration, not even direct inspiration, it just is that visual style. And unfortunately, due to it being just literally the Link's Awakening art style in a brand new game with a bunch of new assets and characters, my guess is that it's only going to run even worse, unless they somehow optimize it to where it runs at like 720p at constant 60 frames a second. Honestly, I'm fine with a consistent 30. I don't know, I think it's really weird that a game like this would be running as poorly as it does on the Switch. It looks ripe for Switch optimization, yet it's just not for some reason. And also the thing about following in the footsteps of Tears of the Kingdom is something that I completely agree on, and that's the thing that's worrying me most about this game, is that it's going to just be 2D Tears of the Kingdom, which happened to be a lot of people's biggest concerns about the game, as I got quite a few comments talking about that. And of course, taking direct inspiration from Tears of the Kingdom, it's going to copy a lot of the things that the game does that I don't necessarily think fits the best in the Zelda formula, strictly the progression of the game, which they did talk about in this comment. The closest comparison that I can probably make to a 2D Zelda where you're able to go wherever you want and do whatever you want is probably A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. You're able to get items in whatever order you want, and in turn you're able to go get any dungeon that you want at any time. And this was in the middle of when everyone was hating Skyward Sword, everyone was complaining that Zelda games are too linear, so it only made sense for Nintendo to go in the complete 180 and work on a game to, you know, that's not very linear. And the community is at a point now where I think they're starting to crave those linear games again, or at least for a subtle mix of the two styles, and unfortunately, this Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, just doesn't look to be that kind of game. My biggest gripe with A Link Between Worlds, as good of a game as it is, I love it. Top 3 2D Zelda games, top 3 top-down 2Ds. That's the term I prefer using. As much as I love that game, I think the puzzles are bogged down a little bit by that freedom of choice that the game gives you. By being able to go to whatever dungeon in any order, I think they have to make the dungeons a little bit easier. There's no real danger progression in that game along with puzzle progression, because now you have the opportunity to complete any dungeon in any order with multiple items, you know? And so Nintendo had to craft those dungeons around multiple different solutions, the items that you got in that game. And again, still a really damn good game, but I feel like this game is going to follow in its footsteps, and I think the puzzles are going to be bogged down a little bit because of that. And speaking of, we got a comment about puzzles. I'm hoping for some nice, tight brain challenging puzzles. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are nice, but I'm so ready to have a return to puzzles where I need to really think for the solution instead of having one answer to every puzzle. Which, yes, I 100% agree on. My god, give us traditional Zelda puzzles back. The dungeons in the linear 3D Zelda games, or hell, the dungeons in the 2D Zelda games are phenomenal. They are tightly crafted, built around a specific item. The progression in those dungeons are fantastic. They start out simple and progressively get more brain tickling as the dungeon goes on. And yeah, I'm just craving a return to those dungeons. Breath of the Wild's dungeons are fine, and so are Tears of the Kingdom, but those are like giant puzzle boxes with a bunch of solutions that can be easily broken, especially in Tears of the Kingdom by just doing random shit. Unfortunately, in this game, that looks to be the case too, strictly because of the whole being able to copy and paste things, you know, being able to put beds over gaps and whatnot. I think when this game releases, people are going to realize that it's not going to be one-to-one to Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom just has no reins. You can go out, do whatever you want at any time with almost no restrictions. You can break the game in almost any way you want, but due to this game being 2D, I think a lot more restrictions are going to be put in place to where you do have to think about what you want to do more. Hopefully that will encourage players to think about how the puzzle actually needs to be solved instead of how can I cheese this in the easiest way possible, because it was easy to cheese in Tears of the Kingdom. Nintendo will give us enough freedom to do what we want with the puzzles, but not so much freedom to where we can almost skip the entire thing. Call me basic, but my only hope for the game is for it to just be good. As a huge Zelda fan, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were major letdowns for me in a way, so I'm hoping that this game will be able to rectify that in some way and show that Zelda devs still care about the original formula, even though I know the game won't be one-to-one with the original Zelda formula. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be a one-to-one with the original Zelda formula. I think we all know this and are expecting it at this point. Anticipating for a game like A Link to the Past is just kind of out of the... it's out of the realm of possibility, unfortunately. But yeah, my biggest hope is that I'll just enjoy this game and not find as many flaws. When I say flaws, it sounds like I'm talking in objective terms, which with a game like this, or just games in general, I don't think there is any objectivity unless the game is broken to hell and back, which we all know just doesn't happen with Nintendo. But I really hope that in a few months' time, I don't find as many personal icks about this game as I did with Tears of the Kingdom, because I still enjoy Tears of the Kingdom in a vacuum, but in the grand scheme of Zelda, in my opinion, it's the worst 3D Zelda, which is gonna piss so many people off, but that's just the way I feel. But I don't want that to be that way for Echoes of Wisdom. I really don't. Surprise to hopefully no one is that I don't want to not like the game. I love Zelda, but yeah, my big it's a big deal for this game to be good and for it to really challenge players, you know? Getting a top-down Zelda where Zelda is the main character is a huge deal, and I think should be given as much emphasis in terms of marketing and just overall game feel as a game like Tears of the Kingdom. It should be promoted heavily, and a lot of care should be taken with this game, so fans just won't drop it and hate it within a month. Overall though, the only way we can really find out if this game is good or not is just to wait until it releases, unfortunately. I placed my pre-order today at the time of recording this video, about an hour or so ago. So yeah, I will definitely be there to play this game day one and give you all my thoughts. But otherwise, that's all I have for you today. Are you excited for Echoes of Wisdom? I know I am, despite me talking about concerns in this video. So leave a comment down below what you're most excited for this game. And yeah, as always, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I wanted to make this a little bit of a shorter, more fun video for you guys to get back on track with that upload schedule, make up for that lost time. So yeah, I'll see you guys in about 2 weeks when I upload my next video, which I'm really passionate about. You guys really don't want to miss it. But yeah, my name is Dylonic, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy and stay fresh.